against J-Hap. Steve Pearce, in 43 plate appearances, is 11 for 35. That's a 314 average. That's an OPS of 1.304 and a slugging percentage of .886. Steve Pearce has fared very well against J-Hap. Christian Vasquez, 19 plate appearances, 17 official at-bats, 5 hits, 1 home run, a 294 average, and an 898 OPS. Now, let's go back to Steve Pearce for just a moment. In those 35 official at-bats and 11 hits, 6 of those have been home runs. So if you're a daily player and you're looking for a player to add, I offer to you for consideration Steve Pearce. Okay. J.D. Martinez, 22 official at-bats against J-Hap, 5 hits, 1 home run. That's a 227 average. Mookie Betts, 37 at-bats, 7 hits, 2 of those are home runs, but only a 189 average for Mookie Betts against J-Hap. Eduardo Nunez, 33 at-bats, 8 hits, no home runs, a 242 average. Rafael Devers, 15 at-bats, 4 hits, no extra base hits, a 267 average. Xander Bogaerts, 34 at-bats, 6 hits, 1 triple, 1 double, a 176 average. Jackie Bradley Jr., 22 at-bats, 3 hits, 1 of those a double, a 136 average. And Andrew Benintendi, 18 at-bats, 2 hits for a 111 average. So if I'm picking Red Sox tonight against J-Hap, I got to look at Devers, but in order, I got to look first at Pearce and then Vasquez and Devers. Pearce, I'm not going to say has owned Hap, but he's fared very well against him with that 314 average and a 1.304 OPS. So now let's look at Yankee batters against Chris Sale. Okay? And as I look, before I even start, I'll start at the top. The player, if I were going to play someone today against Chris Sale for the Yankees, it would be Aaron Hicks. Based on the numbers I'm looking at here, okay? Aaron Hicks in 25 at-bats against Chris Sale has 8 hits, 2 doubles. He scored 4 runs. He's got a 320 average. He has struck out 9 times against Sale, but he does have a 320 average. Now, guys, that is tops on the list, okay? It goes down from here. Of course, you're facing Chris Sale. Kendrys Morales, 41 career at-bats, 11 hits, 3 of those home runs, okay? So Morales, his average for his career against Chris Sale is 268 with an OPS of 863. And now let's get into the below 200s because that's what's left basically if you've got anyone with more than 5 at-bats, and that's all I'm really going to look at. Clint Frazier's 1 for 6. Brett Gardner, 5 for 27. That's a 185 average. Gio Urshela, 2 for 12. That's 167. Cameron Maybin, 3 for 16. That's 188. And Gary Sanchez, 3 for 20. 1 double and a 150 average career against Chris Sale. So, those are your batters, pitcher matchups in the Red Sox-Yankee game coming up tonight at 7:05 at Yankee Stadium. How about the St. Louis-Philadelphia game? That's a 1:05 start. We've got 3 afternoon games. St. Louis is throwing Dakota Hudson, and the Phillies are throwing Jerad Eickhoff. Now, you know, Dakota Hudson's a young guy, so this is a small sample size. Every at-bat here is less than 5, but it's all I have, so I'll give it to you. Bryce Harper, 2 for 2 against Dakota Hudson with a home run. Rhys Hoskins, 2 for 3 against him. Cesar Hernandez, 1 for 2. JT Realmuto, 1 for 3. And they're the only Philly batters career-wise to have hits against Dakota Hudson. Again, you're probably only looking at 1 or 2 games at most because of Dakota Hudson being a rookie. But Harper appears to, in 4 plate appearances, he's walked twice. The other 2 official at-bats, he's had 2 hits. So he appears to see the ball well off Dakota Hudson. I'm liking Bryce Harper today against Dakota Hudson. Jerad Eickhoff and the Cardinals. Again, not a lot of sample size, but I'll give you what I have. Yarrow Munoz in 3 plate appearances is 2 for 3. Yadier Molina, 2 for 5. Marcell Ozuna, 5 for 16 with a home run. That's a 312 average. Paul Goldschmidt, 2 for 11. and Dexter Fowler 1 for 10. So in that group, again, Marcell Ozuna has fared fairly well against him. But again, small sample sizes as we look at these matchups today between the Cardinals and the Phillies. At 1:10 this afternoon, talking about small sample sizes, the Giants and the Marlins. I'm going to say you guys go pick them on that one, okay? Whatever you decide to do. I don't like any set of hitters in that game. But there are some rookies from Miami that you may be interested in. But I don't have any numbers that would really help set a lineup. Arizona's at Colorado at 3:10. Clark against Freeland. No stats against Clark, but Arizona batters against Freeland. How about that? Nick Ahmed, who's been hot lately, period. He's 5 for 16 against Freeland for a 312 average. Ketel Marte, 3 for 14. That's a 214 average. Eduardo Escobar, 3 for 13. That's a 231 average. Everyone else is 5 at bats or less, but Christian Walker is 1 for 5. Christian Walker may soon be losing his job. We're going to talk about that in just a few minutes, but he's the only other player with 5 at bats against the pitcher today. That would be Kyle Freeland. Moving on to the Brewers and Pirates at 7:05 tonight. Milwaukee throws Anderson, and the Pittsburgh Pirates are throwing Musgrove. For Milwaukee Pittsburgh against Chase Anderson, Sterling Marte, a player you got to put in the lineup tonight if you have him on your team or if you're picking DFS lineups. Sterling Marte is 13 for 27 career with 3 doubles, 1 triple, and 2 home runs off of Chase Anderson. That's a 481 clip with a 1.422 OPS. Loving me some Sterling Marte. In fact, he's my player of the day coming into tonight's action. He is the one that you got to have. I've got to have Sterling Marte in my lineup tonight. And I look for him to just rack up some more numbers against Chase Anderson. Adam Frazier's 5 for 15. Gregory Polanco, has he not been disappointing this year? I mean, come on, Gregory Polanco. Either you're playing and not hitting much, or you're just not playing. And he's 7 for 33 against Chase Anderson with a 212 average. I'm not playing him today if I had the option. Elias Diaz, the catcher, 3 for 12. Josh Bell, who's been the hottest hitter season long for Pittsburgh, he's only 2 for 13 career against Chase Anderson. That's a 154 average. And Colin Moran, who's also been hot lately, he's only 1 for 7 career against Chase Anderson. For Musgrove, the Brewers, they fare this way. Moustakas, and none of these have 10 at-bats, so I'm going to start with Christian Yelich, not Moustakas. Christian Yelich has 9 career at-bats, 4 hits, 1 homer. That's a 444 average. Of course, you're going to start Christian Yelich. I don't care who he's playing against, right? And no one else really has that many at-bats. Gamble has 5 at-bats, 2 hits, but not much of a sample size. Moustakas, 2 at-bats and 1 hit. So we'll move on. We'll talk about the Twins, and we'll talk about the Tampa Bay Rays. Martin Perez is pitching today for Minnesota. That game starts at 7:10 in Tampa. Charlie Morton is pitching for the Rays, so it's a great pitching matchup. Perez's yearly stats, he's 7-1 with a 2.95 ERA. Morton is 5-0 with a 2.54 ERA. And in this era, how often do you see starting pitchers both come into a game with sub-3 ERAs? You just don't see it that often, do you? Well, you are tonight in Tampa. Let's look at how these batters fare for Tampa against Martin Perez, okay? Daniel Robertson is 2 for 4. Avisail Garcia is 3 for 5. Here's a player, and I like this guy tonight, and this is a sneaky pick if you're in daily fantasy. Guillermo Heredia. Okay, write it down. Guillermo Heredia. Chappie, if only Marte could face Anderson every day. Well, you never know. You're right. He'd kill. If that average carried on all year long, you'd have, what would he be? I mean, he'd be better than Babe Ruth, right? I mean, he'd just kill it. 481, are you kidding me? But Guillermo Heredia, what if he could face Martin Perez every day, Chappie? 10 for 22. Pretty decent sample size, right? 3 doubles, walked twice, no strikeouts, so he sees the ball well. Guillermo Heredia is hitting .455, folks, against Martin Perez with a 1.091 OPS. I'm loving that. Great call today if you've got a DFS lineup you're setting. Tommy Pham is 1 for 3. Kevin Kiermaier 1 for 7. So, of the sample size, 5 at-bats or more, Avisail Garcia 3 for 5, but Guillermo Heredia 10 for 22. I like that a lot in that game. How about for the Twins? Again, remember, Charlie Morton spent a lot of time in the National League, okay? And he came over last year, played for Houston. Twins just hadn't faced him that much. And so I'm going to give you the stats, but they're, make of it what you will. So here we go. Cha-Cha, good to see you in the chat room, Cha-Cha. Eddie Rosario is 1 for 3 against Charlie Morton. Adrianza is 1 for 2. Jonathan Scope, 1 for 3. Miguel Sano, 1 for 4. C.J. Cron, 1 for 5. And they're the only ones with hits in their career against Charlie Morton. Again, small sample size, okay? But those 5, and of course, the Twins hit, right? The question is, how will they hit now playing in Tampa against that staff? Be great games to watch. Kansas City at 8:05 is going to Texas to play some baseball tonight. Junis is pitching for the Royals, and Mike Minor, 5-3 and a 2.55 ERA, towing the hill for the Rangers. Ranger batters against Jacob Junis. Again, small sample size, but Rovden Odor, 2 for 2. Logan Forsythe, 1 for 2. Jeff Mathis, 1 for 2. And Shin-Soo Choo, 1 for 3. For the Royals against Mike Minor, here's a little surprise. I know you were talking about a small sample size, but Alberto Mondesi, 3 plate appearances, 3 hits, 2 stolen bases. So he's batting 1,000 with an OPS of 2.000, but only 3 at-bats. Hey, probably if you have Alberto Mondesi, you're going to start him anyway. Why not against Mike Minor? Alex Gordon's 2 for 7. Nicky Lopez, 1 for 3. Hunter Dozier, 2 for 6. Martin Maldonado, 3 for 9. So the Royals as a team, 14 for 43. That's a 326 average against Mike Minor. Just giving you that number because you may want to sit Minor tonight, not pick him up. The Royals seem to hit him. And they're playing in Texas, a hitter's park. Food for thought. Do what you want to, but that's just my input on that one. Cleveland, the Indians at 28-27. Carlos Carrasco. Now, he is one of those pitchers. He's just, really hot or really not, right? 4-5, 4.60 ERA against Manny Banuelos. And he's one of those pitchers, he's just never hot, okay? So you want to load up on some Cleveland bats tonight if you can against Manny Banuelos. At least that's my opinion. Let's look at, though, the White Sox numbers against Carlos Carrasco. And if there is a hitter out there that I'm interested in who may go under the radar, it would be Yonder Alonso, who's 5 for 17. That's a 294 average against Carrasco with 2 home runs. Tim Anderson is 8 for 32, 250 clip. Jose Abreu, 10 for 48. That's 208 average. Yolmer Sanchez is 5 for 27. That's a 185 average. James McCann is 4 for 29. That's 138. And Yoan Moncada has gone hitless in his career against Carlos Carrasco. He's 0 for 12. So if I were to pick a White Sox player tonight to click against Carlos Carrasco, I would take Yonder Alonso based on these statistics. Okay, let's move on. We've got a couple more games to look at on the West Coast. The Angels and the Mariners are playing tonight. Pena pitching for the Angels. Kikuchi pitching for Seattle. And so let's look at the minimal statistics we have there. First, for the visiting Angels against Yasuo Kikuchi, Brian Goodwin is 2 for 3 this year. Pujols 1 for 3. Lucroy 1 for 3. Fletcher 1 for 3 as a team, and it looks like they would have probably played one game against Kikuchi. They hit 5 for 14, 357 clips. So the Angels as a team in that one game seemed to pick up the ball well on Kikuchi. We'll see how he does in his second start of the year against the Angels. The Mariners against Felix Pena, the right-hander. Vogelbach 1 for 2, Bruce 1 for 3, Omar Narvaez 2 for 7. The Seattle team, 27.